Hey folks, Kevin here. Well, it's March 27th, 2024, and I thought I'd try and answer a couple of questions I've gotten about choosing a piece of equipment and all. And it's a real windy day, so I was hoping to put the equipment side by side next to each other, but you wouldn't be able to hear me if I was outdoors or talking. So there'll be some brief excursions with the camera going out there. But the first thing I would say, the most important thing is whenever trying to decide what pieces of equipment you're going to want for the future, and I'm just going to move so the wind doesn't come in here, what pieces of equipment you think you may need or want in the future all depends on the functions that you foresee being done in the near future and in the distant future. Equipment prices are only going to go up over time, and that includes the attachments, sorry about that, the wind's really windy day here today. The attachments, service for them, whether, like some pieces of equipment, you need a 55-gallon drum of oil to do a hydraulic change. So there's a lot of factors to consider, but the first thing to do is decide what it is that you want to be done on a piece of property. Is it a forested area where you need to go in and remove lots and lots of trees? That's one possibility. Is it an area that, geez, I need to dig trenches, I need to dig a foundation, power lines, I need to dig out stumps. I need to put in access roads, or I want to be used somewhat for mowing as well. And then, so you want to look at, your climate where you are, your topography, whether you have slopes on your property, whether you have lots of rocky ground, like we have lots of rocky ground here, lots of stone walls on our property. You may have an area that's a lowland and you want to dig and put ponds in as well. So, and I know I'm not being thorough with this, but really thinking about every single thing that you're going to want to do with your business or developing your homestead, whatever it may be. So here we have lots of plans for the future. If I can keep up and do the things, because we're environmentalists, conservationists, we want to do restoration, agroforestry. We want to do as much as we can with farmscaping and permaculture. And they're two separate entities, and I will write an article about those two, the commonalities and differences. But we put in living fences, we put in various raised bed gardens. We're building on top of gravel, coarse gravel and stone wall area. We had to take out tons of poison ivy, so we just ripped the surface off of the ground and took all of the roots from the poison ivy and buried those in the large hugelkultur pits, which are large pits, trenches or pits that you dig into the ground, and you put all the material or the organic material into the pit and then cover it up with the soil and start all fresh. So it's just sitting down and thinking about what are the possibilities with your property, what are things that you have to have done. You may have to have a snow removal piece of equipment. And I would always think about, the situation like I have a condition, Sjogren's syndrome, where I don't produce enough tears or salivary secretions. That's why I'm always swallowing and all. So on a windy day like this, if I don't wear goggles out there with full seal all the way around, my eyes will get completely dried out and I won't be able to see for a couple of days. So and the reason I'm telling you that is having a cabbed unit makes it much easier. So if I've got an enclosed cab, I can get out there, whether there's forest fires in the area with the smoke in the area, I can turn on the air filtration in there. Whether it's snowing heavy or raining, I can work inside of a cab. Whether it's cold, whether it's too hot, I can work inside of a cab. So I would just try to think about everything that you possibly would want to do and when you would want to do it and under what conditions. So let me just point out here for a second. I'm going to talk about the difference between some of the four-wheel units, and the track units in a minute. But like that excavator there, well, it's got a dozer blade on the front. It's got a large bucket on it, and you can get different buckets and all, and it's got a thumb, so I can use it like a grasper and dig out stumps, dig trenches, dig foundations, dig ponds. I can grab a hold of logs with it. I can grab a hold, transplant trees with that. The track service, the track provides me with a great deal of traction and weight distribution. So if you're going in areas where the ground is soft, or after heavy rains, those tracked units distribute the weight so much that there's less of a chance of you getting stuck, although you can get stuck with anything. That really is an important thing. So are there wetland areas that you're going to be working in? Are there areas that are low, where the soil is very, very soft? Then a tracked unit can work better. Now, I have big, heavy stone walls that I've taken out and built roads with, and with having, we'll just come over here for a second. We'll look at Mini-Me first. So this is a Kubota B2601. And this is a powerful little tractor. Of the tractors, I use this one the most. And it's small, it can get into small places. It's got the quick attach bucket on it, so I can put the grapple on it. I can put a set of forks on it. Now, can it lift a full IBC tote with fully loaded with hardwood? No, it can't. It exceeds the hydraulic capacity to lift that amount of load. But this, like I said, this is the unit that I use most commonly. I love that it's got a canopy on it. So even when it's raining, yes, my legs get wet, but I can use this. And like I say, I use this one all the time. When we look at the wheel unit, you say, geez, these are pretty good size wheels, and it's four-wheel drive, hydrostatic transmission, works really well. But if you look at the surface contact with the ground down there, even though these tires are pretty good size, it's like just maybe this much area is actually making contact with the ground, and back here, maybe this much area is making contact with the ground. So you only have a few square feet of this whole tractor that's making contact, and therefore it is much easier to get this unit stuck. Whereas with a track unit, I've got, I think these are 18 inches wide, these tracks are, and they're several feet long, and they're on both sides, and that affords me weight distribution. So if it's a soft area, I'm not going to sink in as much, but it also offers me that traction power if I need to dig into something, a big pile of stone or rocks or gravel. I can push right into it, not tear up the ground too much, and get a full bucket load the first time and take it out. With this unit, you may have seen my big rotary cutter that I posted videos about last year, where you can go into the forest and you can take down trees up to 8 inches in diameter. Now, I haven't taken down anything that big unless they were dead. But like your small trees, 2 and 3 inches, but all the dead trees, I went in with this, and I used the big rotary mower on it. It's a forestry machine to go ahead and cut things with it. Now, I'm going over stumps and rocks and things like that. So these tracks really allow me to do a really good job with the unit. The other thing is, I've snapped, I think, 4 blades so far, and these are big, monstrous blades, like a rotary cutting lawnmower, but much larger blades. So I've got the Kubota ZD1211, Buzz is his name, 7 foot, it's 6 foot cutting size, 72 inches. But there's 3 blades on it, and they're just like, they're nice heavy-duty blades for a lawnmower, but there's more metal. It take over a dozen of those blades to make half of one of the blades that fit on that big rotary cutter. And I've snapped 3 or 4 of them, and those things can go flying. When you're chopping up brush and all, materials fly every place. And so if this was a glass windshield on this, it would have broken. You see this spot right here? That's where a branch, and this is a Lexan shield, so it's more heavy duty than glass, and things really fly at, you know, a couple 100 miles an hour, can shoot 200 feet, and they can shoot right back at you and all. So having this protective barrier between you and something that you're working on, or it could be rocks, or when I'm working in the forest and there's dead trees, because in our area we have had the emerald ash boring insect destroy all of our white ash trees. And as a result, they're really dangerous now. Those trees have been dead for years, and the tops will come, you just bump into them, or you're taking down one tree and a grapevine attaches to the top of another tree. Well, that thing can come down and it can kill a man. So you could die on this unit. With this structural cab on this, you're in pretty darn good shape. And it wouldn't do as much damage because of the heavy dutiness of this. So a large track, and I'm going to call this a track loader. Is it a skid steer? But it's a non-wheeled skid steer, and this is a very powerful one. It's Takushi TL12V2, and this kicks butt. So this, if you've got, depending on what you've got, if you've got stone walls to move, you've got lots of heavy earth to move and all, this can do it quicker. If you've got soft places, it'll do better, you know, than other wheeled units. But the track units will tear up the lawn if you got nice finished areas, or even if you got a gravel driveway. When you turn, these things are going to cut in and leave marks from where you're working through. Whereas the mini wheel loader over there, now that has a pretty good surface area for a wheeled unit. You'd see it has a very short wheelbase, and those tires are pretty robust. And these are their turf tires, and you can get other tires. You can get some that are more like the R4 tires. But you can see the surface area is much larger than the tractors, even over here with the Grandel 6060. Now this is what I move snow with all winter long, but I wouldn't want to be working in the forest because I do a lot of damage with it if one of those dead ash trees came down on it. But you see, the surface contact that I have with this unit is much smaller, is much fewer square inches or square centimeters. So you can see you have much more surface area. The wheels are close together, and because it's an articulated unit, yes, you can engage all 4 wheel motors at the same time. That could tear up the area if you're turning. But this unit is very graceful, and it's super stable on slopes. I think I just posted a video on that, so super stable on the slopes. And it has a multitude of different attachments. So if you have I see this as a unit that I'd be using potentially exclusively as I get older, and I no longer am doing the major work, although I think I'm always going to want an excavator that does so many other functions besides digging holes, moving logs, moving statues, moving fuel tanks, you know, coming and helping to pull out a piece of equipment that's stuck, you know, that sort of thing. So, all right, where am I now? I know this is somewhat boring and disjointed. So first, looking at what are your goals and desires to do on your property or other places. Oh, the other thing is, this unit here, big and powerful and all, Well, I need to hire somebody to come and move this when I need to move it because I don't have a CDL, a special license to take heavyweight loads down the road. That tractor I can move easily with my pickup truck. That unit there I can move easily with my pickup truck and a trailer, no problem. That requires a big flatbed with a CDL, so you need a special license for that. So if you're possibly thinking about working on other places, other than your own property, then you need to consider, do you need to get a special license, a bigger truck, a big trailer and all? And everything's, plus and minuses. You may want to do it like twice a year or whatever and hire someone to move the large pieces of equipment. This isn't in New York State, that isn't road legal, but it's got a place for a license plate. It's got turn signals. I mean, this has turn signals and emergency flashers and good lights for at nighttime. That does as well. It's got extra working lights as well. That's air conditioned and heated. This is air conditioned and heated. That has a heated seat in it. Each piece of equipment has its advantages and lacking thereof advantages. Mini-Me, although I use this tractor more than any other tractor that I've used in the past, one of the drawbacks about it is it doesn't have a great seat. And with this short wheelbase on our lumpy bumpy ground around here, my back is sore when I'm out there. I have to wear goggles if I'm going to be on this piece of equipment, and it's a dry, dusty day. I have to wear goggles. Sometimes I wear a face mask because of the amount of dust. So if you're in an arid environment and there's a lot of dust getting kicked up, that's another thing to think about as well. So I've probably gone overboard in this video talking about these things, but those are my thoughts, my rough thoughts. If you have specific questions about different functions on your property, I'd be happy to do my best. This Avant unit, now of course this is the largest one that they currently make, the 800 series. But I'll tell you, I'm super impressed with it so far. But no way am I going to give up this track loader yet. I got too much heavy work to do. And this can take a beating and all. Are there potentially it's more expensive servicing a unit like this, and the same thing with the excavator, that's going to be a little less expensive to service. It's not as hardy in a forested area. If you got trees that could fall on it and all, you could get the extra coatings. I haven't talked about that yet, I don't think. For the plastic housings all around it, you can get I'm going to call it like a bed liner that you would get your pickup truck bed liner sprayed with, and I think they put multiple layers, and supposedly you're supposed to be able to run over them with a vehicle, and that really hardens up the unit. But like with Elon over there, I've replaced 1, 2, 3, I think 4 of my mirrors, and I've got dents in it from trees, dead tree pieces coming down and falling on that. With me not being near, we're not working with that tree, just another tree coming down and coming on it. How many ones have I had fall on here? I don't know. Probably a dozen. So we live in an area where I'm working in the forested area where there's lots and lots of dead limbs and dead trees still standing. So these two pieces of equipment are going to be around for quite some time. I'll probably always want an excavator because the functions of an excavator are amazing. That's, I would say, was the most multifunctional unit that I'd ever worked with until I just bought the Avant 860i. So I think that's it. That's all I can think of. I'll just be rambling if I go any further. So if you have any more comments or questions, please leave them. I'll try and address those in videos. Maybe in the next week I'll be getting my tree grabber in. That'll be interesting, working in the forest with the tree grabber. I'll get my skid steer plate. I have a lot of work to be done all over on this property and the new property. And I'll be using the Avant for multiple possibilities over there, as well as with the rest of the equipment as well. So that's it. Thanks so much for watching. Stay safe and take good care of yourselves. And thanks for the questions. Bye-bye now. Where's my button here?